Hello and welcome back to the MJ Social YouTube channel. This is a place where I kind of talk about all things business related to my journey and marketing, social media, and try and help you guys figure your way through the ever-changing marketing landscape. Today, I'm going to be looking at Burger King and their marketing efforts. They're people who pop up quite a lot within the marketing world, get a lot of attention, and I'm going to look at why that is and whether or not what they're doing is good. So I just want to start off by taking us back to the 13th of October, where Burger King's Chief Marketing Officer said that people are no longer watching ads unless they're part of the Super Bowl or at Christmas. And the solution to this is grabbing people's attention in order to trigger an emotional response. So how are they doing at this? Are they doing it well or are they failing completely? Well, it's fair to say they definitely attract attention. From Moldy Burgers to promoting their competitors, they know how to make a stare, but does it work? That's the question, does it work? The thing to be aware of here, the thing to start all of this off, the place to begin with this, is to look at the relationship between Burger King and McDonald's. So Burger King are what we call a market challenger and McDonald's are the market leader. And it's all to do with market share and how they rank in terms of their competitors within the market that they operate. So market leader obviously means that they're top of the market. The market challenger means that they've got a good percentage of the market, but they're a bit off the top guys. So that, you can see how that works. McDonald's are probably the biggest name in fast food, and Burger King are a little bit behind that, but not massively behind. They're not an independent starting off in the market. They've got a decent amount of the share of the market. So a market leader, their strategy is to expand the total market. So if they can increase the overall size of the market, they should take the most percentage of that out of all their competitors, therefore making them stronger than their competitors. The other way that they can build their business is to build through innovation. So by bringing in something new that just takes them ahead of the competitors even further, it means that people can't ignore them. So you're looking at someone like Apple back in the day when they combined the iPod and their phone and kind of took a whole market share of like portable music players and smartphones. Market challengers, which what Burger King is in this case, tend to be more aggressive and they try and take on the leader. There are plenty of other tactics they can use and we will come on to some of them later, but in terms of being aggressive and taking on the leader, that is probably what Burger King are. Well, one of the things they're most known for. They do take quite a few pops at McDonald's, and I'm just going to talk about that in a bit more detail and use some examples in just a moment. But before I get to that, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you see all of these types of videos. First, I've covered Gymshark, covering Burger King today. I'll cover other companies in the future, share top tips, and I also host my podcast on here as well. So make sure to subscribe so you see all of them videos first. It'll help me grow, help me know that what I'm doing is valuable to you guys. So now you've subscribed, I'll give you the insight you're all here for in terms of Burger King. So we're saying about being aggressive and taking on the leader within their market, and I think they've almost become obsessed with McDonald's. And this isn't necessarily a good thing. So if we look at one of their earlier campaigns this year, you might have seen that they had a Moldy Burger. They basically filmed their burger turning moldy over a period of, I think it was 30 something days. And it was all around this idea that they have no artificial preservatives. They're taking them out of their burger. So it's like saying these are real ingredients and this is what the burger is. And it's not like fake. It's not like made up of artificial stuff. It is real ingredients and it will turn moldy. So it's quite odd to show your product going moldy, and it certainly got a mixed reaction to this campaign. The reason why I'm saying they're obsessed with McDonald's is because they were trying to say that McDonald's burger doesn't go moldy because it's got all these artificial preservatives in it. So what are you eating was the question they were trying to pose to people who saw this campaign. Now, the moldy campaign, people were saying that they can't stop thinking about Burger King at the time. It was really good brand awareness. And that was right. Everyone was talking about it, especially within the marketing world. So obviously I'm seeing it a lot more than most other people are, but they did turn their burger mouldy and told everyone that it turns mouldy, which seemed a bit odd. So it did get people talking, a lot of brand awareness off the back of that. And if you kind of go down this idea that no press is bad press, then it could be seen as a successful campaign. The issue is probably the elephant in the room. They're talking about their burger turning mouldy and showing it as being mouldy, which, if you're somebody who's maybe doesn't really go to Burger King very often, maybe never been before, and you're thinking about going, you're just going to have this picture of a mouldy burger in your head. It works with the people who've already got a lot of brand affiliation with Burger King, have already built up that brand equity with them. But they have with McDonald's as well, and it's kind of they're choosing between the two. This kind of gives you a reason, an odd way of doing it, but gives you a reason to go pick Burger King over McDonald's. Another strategy, marketing campaign, that they've deployed was one recently that we discussed on the last episode of the podcast, episode 41 of the My Journey podcast. So go check that out right at the end. We talk about it. Was this press release they put out a couple of weeks ago where they were telling people to go and order from McDonald's. And this gained a lot of attention. For Burger King to come out and say, go order from McDonald's, our biggest competitor, the market leader, it seemed like a bit of an odd tactic, and it was. Basically, when you start reading into it, what they were saying was the hospitality industry is struggling, so whether you order from Burger King, KFC, any of these, Taco Bell, them kind of places, doesn't matter, just go order and support people's livelihoods. So they kind of gained the moral high ground over McDonald's and their other competitors by saying, go and order from any of them. We don't care, just order. And that would have made a lot of people go, actually, do you know what? They're trying to do the right thing for the industry. I'm going to go and give them my money because I really appreciate that rhetoric, that talk, that way of speaking, that kind of forward thinking. The issue with this campaign, and this is why I'm saying I think they've become too obsessed with McDonald's, is that was all focused on them saying, go order from McDonald's, we don't care, or come to us, and trying to get the moral high ground over McDonald's. There was talk about Big Macs and the Whopper in there, and the headline literally mentioned McDonald's. The criticism that came under for that campaign was that actually it's your small independents that need the support, not your big international companies who are going to survive this over and over and over. They could have a few lockdowns and they'd be absolutely fine because people are still going to come to them after it's all happened. Yes, they might not survive fully, they might have to shrink, and some people might lose their jobs, but the business as a whole, the brand will survive, whereas actually this whole business is struggling to survive because they're small independents. And there was a little reference to that potentially in the middle of the press release, but it didn't really go far enough. And I think by becoming obsessed with McDonald's, they've kind of shot themselves in the foot because they've missed the real issue that most people, that the real people are facing, and local communities are facing. And so they did come in for a lot of criticism for that. But there's just two examples of how they are kind of that aggressive approach, trying to take on the market leader as a market challenger. They're deploying that marketing strategy, and how it can work for them, but maybe hasn't quite paid off so far. Maybe, we're looking at 6 to 8 out of 10 if we were ranking the campaigns. They've not really hit that 10 out of 10 mark yet in terms of that thing, but that's one way that they're doing that. Before I move on to another strategy that they're deploying as a challenger brand, so to say, drop a comment below. What do you think? Have you seen any of Burger King's marketing campaigns? Have you seen any campaigns from anyone else that you've really enjoyed? Drop a comment below. Let me know. I love finding new marketing examples. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. So if you've got anything or you've got any thoughts on this, please do drop a comment below. And if you're enjoying this video, please like the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. So yeah, before I move on to the next bit, I just wanted to get that in there. So another strategy that market challengers can take is to try and attack an untapped market. Now, generally, it tends to be geographical when we're talking about market challengers and market leaders. They tend to go for a geographical location that maybe doesn't have, for example, it'd be really hard to find one in this case, but try and find maybe a town or a city or maybe even a smaller village that doesn't have a fast food restaurant within 10 miles or something like that, and they would go and put one there, and that would help them tap that market. And when you're talking on a bigger scale, it might be first to enter a country that's not been entered yet. But how Burger King have done it, and what we've been spotting this year, is they've targeted the gaming market. They've tried to latch into gamers and their culture and try and build brand within that community and become the fast food chain of choice within the gaming community. And there's two campaigns I can refer to for this one. One that you've probably all seen if you're here watching this was the Stevenage one, and I'll come on to that shortly, the Stevenage Football Club shirt sponsor. The other one is a campaign that ran through Twitch, the streaming platform. And what they did was they tried to exploit a function on Twitch where you can donate, and then a message gets read out, I believe, or a question gets read out to the streamer at the time. And basically they donated to lots of big streamers and announced brand messages through that functionality. Now, where this is successful is that to get that kind of exposure on their channels, in their streaming channels, would have cost thousands of pounds. And to reach that many people would have cost a hell of a lot. And it costs barely anything. I believe you can do a donation from about £2.50, I think it is. So really, to do that a few times on a streamer's channel, you could spend 25 quid, you've had 10 shout outs on their channel. Like, it's not a very big price at all to pay. And before I get onto the negatives of this, a very clever hack, very, very, very clever hack. The issue is it annoyed, big style, annoyed the streaming and gaming community, which when you're trying to exploit a new market isn't great. What annoyed them was basically this feature is there for streamers to make money, and some of the big boys make a lot of money off it, but there's a lot of beginner streamers who are just trying to, make a little bit of money for what they're doing and a little bit of side income. And it kind of just was a bit naughty, really. It wasn't really what it was there for. It wasn't done with goodwill. It was in good faith, sorry. It was kind of a bit against how that feature was created, and people kind of didn't really like it within the community. So straight away, it wasn't a great campaign from them because it did just miss the mark. However, we come on to the Stevenage one, which a lot of people have heard about. What they did was they sponsored Stevenage, the kit sponsor for Stevenage, and which was probably a bit of a weird move when everyone looked here, but what they did it for was to get into the game FIFA. Once they were in there, they made challenges for people to use Stevenage in order to try and win rewards from Burger King, such as a free burger or free meal or that kind of thing. Stevenage went on to be the most used team in FIFA that year, which is absolutely amazing. Their shirts sold out from the club shop, all these brilliant statistics and facts that just show it was a really successful campaign. And it did help them build the brand within the community. It's been heralded as kind of a bit of a genius campaign. It's won lots of awards, and rightly so. And it worked because actually people outside that FIFA gaming community didn't really hear about it until they launched their kind of marketing review video, which was the thing that went viral. Now that might seem odd because you'd think, well, surely more exposure is better, but when you're targeting a niche community, it's really worked when only people in that community have heard about it. And that's what happened here. Only people who played FIFA actually knew about them challenges. It was only afterwards that everyone else found out about it when they made this video saying about the fact that it was the most used club in FIFA. The only potential negative, and I'm really trying to look at, trying to find something here that is a negative about this, is that it potentially exploited a small club in the same way that we're saying that the Twitch donations maybe wasn't done in the best faith. Actually, should Burger King maybe have paid a bit more for that sponsorship, right? If they knew that's what they were going to do. They've kind of exploited a cheap team in order to get the exposure, the same as Man City, but not paid them a fee that's worthy of the exposure that Man City would have got. So, maybe it's a little bit bad, but the club did get benefits. One of the most, like you say, a lot of people know who Stevenage are. I didn't know before. The club shirts sold out. So, yeah, I think really I'm really plucking at straws here to try and get something that's a negative. But we've had four campaigns there, from Burger King. So going back to the original question, how are they doing in terms of grabbing people's attention to trigger an emotional response? Well, the only one that triggered an emotional response, well, two are the ones where they've done the order from McDonald's campaign. It was kind of like, oh, great, you know, or actually you've missed. Well, the idea was it being people like, oh, great, you're this beacon of hope within the industry. And then the other one is the Moldy Burger, like, that was to trigger an emotional. I was like, oh my God, it turns moldy, like that kind of thing. But both of them potentially could have turned out as negatives. The moldy one kind of split opinions. The same with the order from McDonald's. Actually, they missed the point with the order from McDonald's, and on the moldy one, people are just thinking of a moldy burger. So I don't know. Maybe the controversial route is the way forward for them. But only one of them campaigns of all them four I've spoken about has been a true success, and that's the Stevenage one. So they are good at grabbing people's attention, but not necessarily for the right reasons. And as I said at the beginning, if you think any press is good press, then this is the way to go. But has it really had the long-term benefits? Yes, in the moment they've had some good media attention, but how does that translate elsewhere? We'll have to wait and see. Have they able to gain market share over the next 6 to 12 months? We'll have to wait and see. From my point of view, I think what they do is creative, it's pushing boundaries, and you know, if you can get a hit rate of 1 in 4, and only one of them 4 was a bad campaign, the Twitch one I would say, and the other 2 split opinion, you're really looking at 1 good one versus 1 bad one, and 2 down the middle. So it's a 50-50 split across all them 4 campaigns, which I think for ambitious, aggressive, creative marketing is a very good hit rate. And when you're a market challenger and you're trying to beat that big boy, the market leader, McDonald's, I think Burger King get a tick in the box from me for their marketing. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, as I say, please do like and subscribe to the channel, and I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. But until next time, thanks for watching.